Hey there, it's Jitsi, and you're listening to the Crush Chronicles podcast, a safe space for millennials to reflect on our crushes and how they affect our lives. So grab your coffee or wine, pull out your old diaries, and settle in for today's topic and discussion. Hello, welcome back to the Crush Chronicles podcast. And today I have a returning guest from season 2. You might remember her. She is Skylar, and she is a sticker designer and love and deep space addict. Skylar, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. So we're going to start like we usually do with an ice crusher just to get the conversation flowing. So I'm going to make it way less complicated than I did last season. Who are you crushing on right now?
As my bio said, I have been deep in the gotcha game of love and deep space. So I do have like 5 fake boyfriends right now.
So,
2 of them, yes, it's so hard.
does your husband know about this?
My husband's very supportive. He also has his favorites. We both rank. It costs a lot of money, unfortunately, for me who like spends money and, doesn't have patience to free play a lot of times. But you could say that Silas from Love and Deep Space is my crush right now.
Okay. I don't know what that is, but I'm going to have to check it out after this because I need to see. So mine is kind of vague, but at the time of this recording, there is a watermelon challenge going around Instagram right now and maybe TikTok. I don't know.
Yes.
So it's basically anybody who's done that challenge because
right. Thick
thank
thighs,
you for your
save
service.
lives.
Yes. Thank you for the cause. Thank you and I've learned a lot. Good idea. Yeah, I've learned a lot. So that's basically mine right now. So we both have more than one, kind of.
I get it.
Okay, so before you joined me today, you read the first part of Johnny's story from my memoir, The Crush Chronicles.
Right.
And I appreciate you for reading that before you came on. So we're going to dive right into the questions. So with this chapter, Johnny's first chapter, it starts with an open letter from grown-up Rachel because this memoir takes place with teen Rachel. So if you were going to write an open letter like the one that grown-up Rachel did, who would you write an open letter to?
So I did write an open letter. I wasn't sure if that was part of the assignment,
That's amazing.
But it is to my first college boyfriend, ex-boyfriend,
Okay.
obviously.
Tell us a little bit if you're not too shy to share.
Of course. Did you just want me to read the letter?
That is totally up to you. I love that you wrote a letter.
Okay, so I put, Dear first college boyfriend, I'm so sorry for emotionally cheating on you. We've already talked about it, but it still hurts me to think about because you truly deserve better from me. What we had was beautiful in its simplicity. I don't think we ever even fought. Being with you brought me so much comfort and peace during a really painful time in my life. My home life was abusive and unstable, and our relationship became one of the only places where I felt safe. Looking back, I realized that wasn't entirely fair to you either. You deserve to be loved fully as yourself, not also carry the weight of being an escape. At the time, I was emotionally vulnerable and allowed myself to become too emotionally invested in someone else. The moment I realized that these feelings crossed a line, I came to you. I was very honest. I told you everything because you deserved honesty from me, even if it hurt. I remember telling you we should break up, and instead you responded with so much kindness and forgiveness. You told me we could move past it and that we didn't need to break up. I remember telling you that you should never settle for someone who doesn't make you their top priority. And I still mean that. What I did was unfair and hurtful, and I deeply am sorry for the pain that I caused. You are such a kind, genuine, and incredible person. I will always be grateful for the love and gentleness you gave me during a time when I needed the most.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So you said this was college. So you're like early 20s?
Yes. I think I was like 19, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So it was still pretty young. That was still pretty mature of you. For a lot of people wouldn't. First of all, I don't even think we were really even aware of emotional cheating very much back then. Like, I feel like that's more of a term am I wrong? I feel like it's more of something that's come up more recently.
Yeah, I think it's more in the lexicon now, right? Is emotional cheating. And I'm not sure if I don't remember if I used the term emotionally cheating, but I do remember thinking that that's what that was. And like, honestly, the situation in general was really crazy. I do think when you grow up in like an abusive environment, you are forced to emotionally grow up pretty fast. And like, yeah, I think that's just like a big part of it. And like, my parents like deeply hate each other. So the fact that like me and that, person never like fought, I was just like, this is weird.
Mm,
But it was just like, wow, like interesting. And so I feel like we did have a lot in common, but we weren't like as like connected as I am with my husband. And so I think it was like kind of like, and this sounds so shitty. I do think it was kind of like a nice little like placeholder for like obviously future relationships and stuff. 'Cause it did kinda set me up to look what I could look for in other relationships. Did it protect me from future abusive relationships? No, not at all. Because again, I was, like, 19 and dumb. But, yeah, that story in general is crazy. Because my best friend at the time decided to start catfishing me. She did have a crush on me, so I guess that's where some of the motivation came from.
okay.
And so, but because she like knew me so deeply as a person and all of my circumstances, and we spent so much time together, she like curated this like person online who was like her best friend from high school that she like, started to reconnect with. And just did like this really elaborate like catfish. And this was before I knew about like the show Catfish and stuff. So I didn't know what like the red flags were. But I think the thing that like just really sold it is since we spent so much time together, she had access to a lot of my items, including my dream journals. And she would be like chatting or whatever and be like, oh, I had this weird dream. And it'd be like beat for beat the same dream that I wrote in one of my like dream journals. So like me who's looking for an escape from like this abusive like environment is like he's making all these promises of like being a savior, taking me away from it all, having like money and resources, and but also being like cosmically like linked in like this like weird way where we're sharing dreams and stuff. Like so it was pretty extensive.
So you were with your boyfriend, but you were emotionally cheating with the catfishing friend,
Yes,
not knowing
embarrassing.
that it was your
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah, it was embarrassing, like, in hindsight, obviously, I think everyone's embarrassed, but I do think, like, she was just really extensive because she also made family members for them who would also regularly, interact with me online. So, like
Wow.
yeah, and then eventually she killed him off because that's what most people who are catfish who can't continue a lie do, is kill people off. So then for several years, I had to, like, grieve over, like, this person who I thought was gonna be, like, the love of my life,
Oh my
and then
god.
yeah, so also, like, she, as him, sent me, like, written letters and diaries and, like, jewelry and, like, a burned CD of, like, him singing, like, songs and stuff. Like, it was extensive. I feel like based off the last time I was on this podcast, I talked about that one time, I was single white female, and then there was a huge conspiracy by their brother. So, I do find myself in these situations a lot, I suppose.
Yeah. Another Netflix movie for you, Skylar. It's it's there. Yeah, I'm sorry you had to deal with that at 19 because yeah, I don't think I didn't know what catfishing was then either. Like it was still pretty
Right.
and that's very extensive. So, already that young, you're already so susceptible and vulnerable to these things and then you're already in like a more vulnerable situation. So how did you eventually find out the truth?
I think I just started honestly, I still have, like, the diary of, like, letters from that person because like, the whole thing is he started, like, writing letters in a diary to, like, give me one day, and then, like, when he died, his sister sent it to me because again, I had a relationship with this sister that my friend had created. I think just, like, with time and, like, after finding the show, like, Catfish, I was just, like, putting pieces together, and I think eventually the burned CD that they gave me of covers, I found that person on YouTube, just, like I was like, "Okay, well, this is definitive proof," which is also, like, really embarrassing because I did mourn, like, truly grieve for someone so sincerely, like, for several years because, like, I thought, like, they were, like, the love of my life and that, like, they died. So, like, that's very embarrassing for me.
Well, I hope that you're not, like, holding on to the embarrassment because you like, what else were you supposed to do? Reality was, like, messed with. So how long was this whole process? Because you said you mourned for years.
Yeah, I would say, like, after his death, I mourned for, like, 2 years when I started to, like, think about
And how
it.
long were you guys talking?
For, like, a year.
Okay, so it was like a 3-year
Yeah,
thing before
so
you started, like, figuring it out. Did
yeah.
you ever confront your friend?
She disappeared, like, completely.
Wow.
She, like, had a bunch of stuff going on. She became, like, so super fun, not to out her, but she was, like, one of my best friends, lesbian, did fall in love with a man, felt embarrassed about it, got impregnated, put the child up for adoption, and then just, like, disappeared. Like, she was like, "Oh, I'm moving," and we're like, "Okay," and then, like, blocked every one of us.
Wow.
So
Wow. So, okay, so to get back to your letter,
okay.
so when all of this was happening, how long did you, because you said that you thought you should break up with your boyfriend, but he was like, "No." So how long did that relationship continue?
It didn't. I broke up with him.
But you did, but even though he
Yeah,
was like, "No, you don't have to." You were like, "You deserve better than this."
right.
That was much, yeah, that was so mature of you.
So, I should say we should use, like, they pronouns for it right now.
Okay.
So, but yeah, they were like, "No, it's okay. We can move through this." I literally, like, had so much guilt about the whole thing, and like, just didn't understand how someone would be, like, okay being like, "I forgive you. Let's, like, move on." Because, like, for me, that would have, like, bred so much, like, resentment if I, like, tried to stay and make a relationship work. So, I was like, "That's no, that's not, like, fair. This is, like, fully imbalanced." So, yeah, I
Yeah.
I didn't let it go on. We did, like, hang out still and, like, occasionally would sleep together, but, like, I mostly put an end to everything.
So you were, again, pretty young. You were 19. How old were they?
I think the same.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, thank you for sharing that. Again, I love that you wrote the letter. It was beautiful. Did you have any sort of like catharsis or did you find it helpful at all?
I mean, sure, like, upon reflection, yes, but I this is a conversation that like, had with them a couple
Hmm.
more times, so I feel like, I've gotten everything that I've personally needed. I obviously cannot, speak for them, so, yeah.
And it's way more deep than the letter I wrote to Johnny. I'll put a clip of my letter in here when I edit, but yeah, mine was about a song, but not that I'm comparing or anything, but I just
Songs
am
are
so.
important, and songs, like, cause that's the thing with, like, Alzheimer's, right? Or, like, dementia is, like, the 2 things that stick in your mind are, like, scents and, like, music. So,
Mm,
like, music and different smells will trigger, like, memories, and
mhm,
that's why I think there's, like, music and scent therapy. I don't know. I have to look into that. I might be lying, but I'm pretty sure
probably.
it's a thing.
It should be. How could it not be? That totally makes sense that that would be a thing. But yeah, thank you again for sharing that. So about for this chapter, is a pretty short chapter, but what about this part of the chapter stood out to you and why?
So the part that stood out to me the most is when you were commiserating with Joel and then like your guys' group of friends were like, you guys like look so good together. You should be together, like blah blah blah. Because like you guys were just like spending time and commiserating. And I think, that just happens in general. I think people have a hard time seeing men and women in platonic relationships.
Yes, I
I think
agree.
inherently people have like kind of like this shipping culture where it's just like, oh, you guys get along, blah, blah, blah. You guys like must be romantically like interested. And of course, we see like a lot of media where it's just like friends to lovers, enemies to friends to lover, stuff like
Hmm.
that. But I think people have a really hard time seeing men and women and they, thems be friends with each other and not have any sexual or romantic, desire towards them. Like I have a really like good best friend at work and he and I just like really hit it off in a lot of ways. And there was like one of my coworkers made a comment about like should I like be talking to him that way in a place especially cuz like my husband works at the same company. And I was just like if I was going to cheat on my husband, it would not be with a man. Like, I'm not going to cheat on my husband, but it will not be for a man. Are you kidding me? And kind of on the flip side, when my husband was like best friends with one of our mutual friends, like, and we were in the same department, a lot of people in our department were like, I feel so bad for Skylar. I can't believe like would like openly cheat on Skylar, because they were so close. And, it was just like, well, he's not cheating on me. And they're like, he's emotionally cheating. And just like, no, he's not. Also, the friend was like fully asexual and aromantic. But again, because like my husband is a man, well, male presenting, and that friend is like female, everyone's just like, oh, they get along too much. They must be like in a relationship. So, but yeah, I think also in a high school setting, I think it's just natural to group up, obviously, by like, friends in general group up. And so you like to see like pairs within that just because it makes the dynamic a little bit more like fun and comfortable. And yeah, so I've been in a lot of situations like that, including like in high school and in, other levels of school. It sucks because it's not fun because then you have like situations where you feel like, well, I have to date this person because everyone expects that of me. And if you
Mhm.
aren't like, feeling your best self, you're just like, well, I guess this is what everyone feels. And like, I guess, you know what I mean?
That's really easy. It's like a different form of peer pressure. It's really easy to kinda
Yeah.
get, like, pushed into the situation. And you're talking specifically about when she was talking with Joel, not with Johnny.
Right. When, yeah,
Because
because
she thought
you,
of Joel as like a little brother.
yeah,
Why did it give me a thumbs up? Do you see that? That's so funny. But yeah, so you're talking about, because Teen Rachel saw Joel as a little brother, but because they were bonding over they had both broken up with, and of course, that's something that's gonna, like, push people together too, is they're like, "Oh, you're both heartbroken. You can, cure your heartache with
yeah,
each other,"
heal
kind of
each
thing.
other. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Teen Rachel was like, "No, let's squash that." And I really appreciate that that's the part that you chose to talk about because I've thought about cutting that part out of the chapter many times because I didn't know if it was serving anything.
I think you would do yourself a disservice if you were to cut that part out because it is, I feel, a very universal experience. And especially because, like, Teen Rachel, like, obviously deals with like insecurities and all these
Mhm.
feelings of feeling like undesired. Like, it really does kind of show a contrast of like, well, you felt like you were undesired and like no one could ever love you, but like all these people on the sidelines were like, "Well, we think you do deserve love and you are desired and, blah blah blah." But like because we're so into ourselves, it's hard to be you're like, "Yeah, this person could like me, but it doesn't count because like I see
Mhm.
them as like a brother type thing." So
Yeah.
I just think that is a situation a lot of people go through. So I think if you took it out, you would be taking out an element that really resonates with a lot of people.
Great. Yeah, thank you. And this is a little off topic, but have you seen the TV show Platonic?
No.
Oh my gosh, you haven't? I think you would like it. It's
Okay.
on Apple TV just because you and I just had this conversation. It's Seth Rogen and Rose Byrne.
Ah,
And
I love them.
they're hilarious. And I think I'm blanking on how many seasons they have out, maybe 2. But yeah, it's 100% like I don't know, they met in college or something. 100% like best friends, 100% platonic, and that's it. There's no, like, will they, won't they, it's just they are just friends, and it's a male and a female.
I do
And
love that, yeah.
yeah, because that's never ever the case, almost ever, and especially with 2 leading roles of opposite sexes.
Right.
Yeah. I recommend for anybody to check that out if you're interested. Plus, they're hilarious, like, if you need a good laugh, which we all do. It's 2026, we need a good laugh. Anyway, so tell me about a time when you've had this really amazing, beautiful person in front of you who was super into you, but you were oblivious.
So, I don't know if that, like, happened in the sense of, like, I was, like, oblivious. I've had people who I thought were, like, quote, unquote, "out of my league"
Mm,
be into me, but I was pretty, like, aware of it, and I think that's just, like, the autism, and again, growing up in an abusive household is you pay attention to a lot of, like, people's, like, micro behaviors, and so I think that if I was oblivious to it, I never realized, like, they were successful.
like like you were truly
Yeah.
oblivious and it never
Yeah, you
came
would have
back
to
to
tell me
180.
that person would have to, like, come to be now and be like, "I had such a crush on you," and I would have been like, "Wow, great job." not. There had been times where I've pretended to be oblivious to get out of like difficult conversations. I was very like manic pixie dream girl coded in college, and I had like a lot of people try to be like, "Wow, you're Ramona Flowers for me," and stuff like that. And so I remember just like pretending a lot to be oblivious of people's like feelings because I really didn't want to be like, "I'm not into you." Like I just, you know.
Yeah, because it's hard. You also don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Yeah. So, but also a message to everyone, other people's feelings are not your responsibility. One time I had this guy
Absolutely.
confess to me and he locked me in his car until like I gave him like a proper answer.
Jesus, Skylar, another one for the movie.
Yeah, I was like, fuck, this sucks because he had child lock on the door. I was like, so
You
like
know,
when
it seems like a good
he
idea till it's not.
right. Because that's not even the first time someone's trapped me in a car. I've had an Uber driver trap me in their car too a few years ago.
God,
So
please carry an emergency button around with you, please.
to get out of cars. But yeah, that was another person where I was like, what? This person doesn't like me. They could never like me. And then they like did the whole like, hey, like I just want to like tell you something. And we had gone for a ride and like we were 2 blocks away from my house and he locked the doors and like I didn't think anything of it. And it was very like, I really like you. I think like we can have like a really fun, beautiful relationship. And I was like, well, I don't like see you that way. I see you as a brother, which is, I think, a pretty common and safe thing people do say, even if they don't feel that way.
Hmm.
I approve of that message, you guys. Whatever keeps you the most safe. And like he kind of had like a breakdown because it was like, I'm a nice guy. You just like won't give me a chance because I'm like so nice and blah blah blah. And I was just like, get me out of this car.
My gosh. And that's not a true nice guy. That's not true nice guy behavior. Nice
Right.
guys wouldn't lock you in a car, first of all, and hold you hostage.
Hmm.
And also,
Which
they
is a
wouldn't make you,
crime, by the way.
yes. And they wouldn't guilt trip you because they're the nice guy. A nice guy just
Right.
wouldn't say anything.
And
So,
like he
yeah.
had gotten me like a really nice like Christmas present. So I like in hindsight I was like, "Oh, he was giving gifts and like really I was just like, fuck." So I guess I
Hmm.
was oblivious in that sense. I don't know. Yeah. Sorry. I feel like I keep
But it
taking
wasn't.
things off topic.
No, that was on topic. You were oblivious, but it wasn't in the same way. Like in the chapter that you read, Teen Rachel was oblivious to good, eventually reciprocated feelings. Where in this case, it's a
Right.
good point to make. Like you could be oblivious, and it could be completely not going anywhere,
Mhm.
whether you both agree on it or not. So,
Right.
yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that story too.
Yeah.
Okay, so Teen Rachel talks about giving a crush to her friend Brenda because she didn't want to be at odds with a friend over a guy. And this wasn't Johnny, this was someone else that they had been talking about. But what would you have done in this situation?
So I have been in this situation 2 different times.
Okay.
And, like, honestly, for me, the second one, I didn't really care that much about it, so it was pretty fine, like, giving the crush away. The first one was a little bit more hard, but I was trying to like, the friendship meant more to me than that crush, so I, like, gave it away, but that person didn't like my friend. They liked me,
Mm,
and so,
hmm.
kinda thinking about it, it is pretty fucked up. Am I allowed to curse? I'm so sorry.
Yes, of course you are. Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of fucked up that we like kind of robbed this person of their like autonomy, right? We just kind of saw them as like almost like cattle that
Mm, hmm.
and we were trying to decide which one of us is like more deserving of this prize. And that really kind of dehumanizes him and it really kind of said, well, your emotions don't matter to us. Like only we matter to each other and based off of our decision. So I got rid of that crush, but none of us were like happy because I was choosing to not date him because to make my friend happy, but he wasn't dating her because he didn't like her. He liked me. So just the three of us didn't do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I don't think either Teen Rachel or Brenda asked that guy what he wanted because it never got to that point, but that's a good point to make is like why I think we value friendship so much and for good reason, but you have to ask everybody how they feel, not just the person that you're closest to. Because yeah,
Right.
you kind of all robbed yourself from good experiences. Like she was robbed from moving on, and you two were robbed from having like a potential like relationship of some sort.
Right. And
Yeah.
like obviously in high school it is difficult to, all of this is spoken with in hindsight.
Hmm.
And like in high school, your feelings are so big and it's your entire world. So like one off aspect could like really destroy your whole existence in the home that's not your actual home because the place
Yeah,
you
the stakes
spend
are
the
so
rest of your
high.
time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's a good point too. Okay, so Teen Rachel had trouble believing anyone had feelings for her, as you kind of touched on before, even when it was obvious. In any, how in any way can you relate to this?
So I didn't think it was impossible, like, because I definitely had like an ugly duckling phase at like middle school, the end of like elementary school, middle school. And I didn't think that no one could like me because I had people who like liked me. So I knew that that wasn't impossible, but I just wasn't like into those people. So I just thought the people that I liked, because like I perceived them as like really attractive and more attractive than me. I perceived myself not being worthy of their love. And I think that's just mostly we view attractiveness as kind of like a ranking system of like what we value in society. So like if you have like someone who's like ranked a 10, you expect them to not go any lower than an 8. And if you feel like you're like a 6, why would someone who's like above that number be interested in you? Because like again, kind of society tells you that like you're not worthy of anyone who we perceive as someone who's hotter than us. But like that's not
Hmm.
what attraction is based off. Like yes, being attracted to your partner has a lot to do with it, usually initially, but a lot of times it's the bonds like you create with the person that makes you ultimately more attractive.
Yeah. Oh, that's very beautifully said. I totally agree. I've mentioned it before how I do feel like society just shapes a lot of how we tend to navigate relationships or potential relationships from high school at a young age and even beyond. Like it kind of sticks with us. Hence why I'm doing this podcast and I'm 41 years old. I think that's a good point. I do think that since we've grown up, since we were younger, a lot has been done to kind of like negate, like you said, like a 6 going for a 10 and vice versa. But it
Mhm.
still very much happens and it's still very much ingrained in us as we grow up and as we, come of age in our society. But
Right.
I do think small steps are being taken.
Yes. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
social media is making it hard for the children,
Yeah, that probably set us
but
back. For
oh,
any strides that we made, that probably set us back like a lot. But yeah. Okay. So, like it was stated in the open letter to Johnny, there was a song shared between Johnny and Teen Rachel that she keeps in her mind that belongs just to them. What song or even something else like along those lines do you have that was just between you and another person?
I think that I definitely have a song that I associate with each one of my past relationships,
Hmm.
but I choose to focus on the song that I think about a lot when I think of my partner. And we have, especially because we've been married and together for so long, so we have a bunch of like different songs.
Hmm.
But a song that's extremely meaningful to both of us is the song That Thing You Do from the movie That Thing You
Hmm.
Do.
Good song.
Yes, yes. And I think it's because when we were younger, it was such like an obscure movie. I kind of feel like no one
Mhm.
talks about it. And yeah, my partner and I, we just in general had so much like in common. And it was kind of like we were pretty new in our relationship. And we were like in a grocery store at like 3 o'clock in the morning and that song came on and we were both singing it like so happy and so enthusiastically. And we just felt really connected. And then that was the first time I ever said, I love you to him.
Mm.
And like in a romantic sense, I had said like I love you as like a friend many, many times
Mhm.
before. But
But
yeah,
you
it was
can
the
tell when
first
it hits
time.
different.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah.
then he immediately reciprocated. So
Hey, I love that song choice. That's great.
is it so cute?
Yeah. I don't know if you know, but for me and my husband, our song is "Just the Way You Are" by Bruno Mars. Because what's funny is when we were engaged and we were planning the wedding, that song was popular, and at first I did not like that song, I thought it was corny. But then because, the song, it keeps getting played on the radio,
Yeah. A
but it
little
it grew on
earworm.
me. Yeah, it grew on me, and when I actually started, like, really listening to the lyrics, I was like, "You know what? I actually really like this message. This is a great message for a man to send out to all the women of the world." I was like, "This is actually a great song." And when we planned our first dance, we planned on it to be "I'll Be There" by the Jackson 5,
I was
but
like by Edward McCain. Okay, I see. I see. That's Albie. But
no,
yeah.
not that one. My husband, he went behind me, the bride's back. He did check with one of my bridesmaids first, and my bridesmaid was like, "Yes, this is a great idea." But he went to the DJ and was like, "We'll play this as our first dance, play Just the Way You Are." And so he surprised me on our wedding day. And when he started playing it, of course, I started crying because I was completely in shock. And the DJ was like, because he was like, I've seen brides like flip out when things have not gone as planned. But no, my husband knew what he was doing, and yeah, and actually the wedding favors that I burned everybody a CD, and everybody said for, like, years afterwards that whenever they heard that song, they thought about our wedding, and, like, at the end of it, like, I still like, for years after our wedding, I would cry every time I heard that song came on because at the end of the dance, all of our wedding party was, like, singing the song along with us while we were dancing, so, yeah, songs mean a lot.
It's funny that you say like it changed because our wedding song was a song called Sweet Pea by Amos Lee. And we still love that. And it's another song we associate with like our relationship. But
Mhm.
literally the night before, we were watching The Wedding Singer, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's a good movie, yeah.
And the song that he's singing on the plane to Drew Barrymore ended up being our first dance song.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
So
I
yeah,
have never heard of that before.
it's just because it's, like, silly, it's goofy, but it's, like,
Mhm.
so sweet,
Yeah, it is.
and I think just, like, it really kinda encapsulated, like, who we feel like we are in our relationship, but everyone knew it was gonna be this other song, so instead of, like, him surprising me, it was us surprising
You guys
everyone else.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, and I bet it was, like it made it way more meaningful too when you did surprise
Yes,
everybody. Yeah, that's a good one. Well, thank you for coming on the show again. I was very pleasantly surprised that you were like, "I'll do it again." And I have another guest from last season that was like, "I'll do it again too." So he'll be back on as well.
it's
So thank
fun.
you.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you so much. All right, well, okay, I'm very grateful for you. And then if who knows, next season, maybe I'll ask if you'd like to come on again too.
Sure, and I'll probably say yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So, what do you think? How do you feel? If you like this episode and would like to hear another, download the Alive Podcast app, where you can find our archive of audio episodes and discover hundreds of shows featuring Black and diverse voices on the first Black and woman-owned network. If you upgrade to ad-free, please remember to select Rachel Jitsawat as your referring host. The Crush Chronicles podcast is produced by me, Rachel Jitsawat. The music is by Musictown, and the sound effects are by Pixabay. Thank you for listening, and until next time, remember to be somebody's crush, starting with your own.